Hey there, good morning, guys. I am meteorologist Ben Peine here live from the back deck here in Borden, Indiana on this Thursday. Happy Friday Eve, July the 10th. And we're going to have a little kind of extended weekend. My wife and I, Sarah, are heading up to Indianapolis for a concert and for some camping. So got tomorrow off, kind of. Still going to be updating the forecast, of course. We'll have some internet up there, so we should be good to go with that. So I'm hearing a lot of bugs around me. Maybe the katydids, maybe a lot of birds. I don't know. It's a good morning. It's a good, nice, peaceful morning out here, out in the woods. So we've got some folks tuning in here this morning. Thanks for watching, by the way. We're gonna, like we do on the back deck, every once in a while test out our Starlink internet. There might be a little glitch here and there, and usually I see it on my end and you don't see it on your end. But we'll get to some the comments here in just a second. Thanks for dropping in the comment, and also let me know where you're from as well. We'd like to give a shout out to your hometown. And thanks for watching on my page on Ben Peine. You can see it right there, Peine. My Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine. Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube. Thanks for liking and subscribing there, and extolmag.com/weather. So look at the live current conditions out there. We've got a new sponsor I want to give a shout out to. Amy, this will be RV camping as well. I'm going to give you a hint for those. I don't know if this is a gift or a punishment here, getting out the old axe, and it is old. It's this is about a 23-year-old Fender acoustic that my wife gave me for my birthday a long time ago, right before we were married. So I'll give you a hint. I'll try not to get kicked off YouTube and Facebook. Maybe I'll play it so bad that I won't get copyrighted. But this is a hint where we're heading this weekend. What should I start with? All right, here we go. And this is actually weather related. When you bring a guitar, acoustic guitar, from inside where it's cooler to outside, it gets a little flat. I had to tune it up a little bit, so hopefully it's still in tune. If you get a guitar out in the cold, then it gets a little bit sharp, but we'll try our best. So this is kind of weather related because we use these every day in weather. If you know it, go ahead and say it in the comments. I'll try to play it good enough that you might know it. It was on the radio a lot back in the day. All right, that's all I'm going to give you there. All right, moving on. Ooh. Let me try that again. It's not see, we're trying to keep it off the copyright. We're trying to play it bad so I don't get kicked off. That's the secret here. Maybe I should slow it down too. Ooh, a lot of mistakes here. I haven't played this in a while. All right, that's one, and then last one here. Any guesses? Any guesses yet on the concert we're going to this weekend? Oh, yeah, and again, hopefully we don't get copyrighted. I'm definitely not going to sing. And we'll get to your forecast here in just a second. I haven't played these in a long time. That's my excuse. waking up the kids. All right, here we go. It's time to get into the weather. Sorry about that little jaunt there. Okay, so what we have going on here is we are going to head over to the comments section. Thanks for guys popping in here. We've got Keith Hennessy. Let me take my name off there. You all know who I am by now. Keith, good morning to you. Hopefully you're hearing my wonderful guitar tunes across the woods there. We've got Amy Moore from New Albany. Thanks for watching. Amy was asking tent or cabin camping. We're going to be in the RV, so we'll have some AC, got the generators going. Orlean, good morning. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much. You enjoy yours as well. Beverly Haggis tuning in from across the valley in Borden, Indiana. Thanks for watching. We got the Bliss cup of coffee here going this morning. Amy Jo says the RV is nice. It is. We used to tent camp out there. We kind of go every other year-ish. So we're gonna be looking mostly dry today, weather-wise, and tomorrow. Saturday, Sunday, a little better chance of some pop-up storms, especially Sunday as the front gets closer. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week looking mostly dry. Still hoping for that Canadian-ish cool down late next week. We're going to look at those weather models here. Typically, it's around 10:20. We start to dig into the weather model data. Doobie Brothers, no. Not the Doobies. Although there are a lot of Doobies at this concert, if some people know what I'm saying. It's a little bit of a hippie-ish crowd, I would say. Vicky Berger, sun is shining in Salem. Yeah, we got a lot of sunshine. I can look in your direction up Highway 60. I see that sunshine. I don't know. LOL, good job. We've got to have somebody that knows the tunes. Might break it out a little bit later. And good morning. Going to the eye doctor. Good luck at the eye doctor there. And we've got Christian Walker with the coffee. Thanks for tuning in here this morning. Bringing up extolmag.com/weather, looking at the current conditions out there. And also, I like to always look at a live look outside as well. So this is a look at the Falls of the Ohio Foundation camera. Live there along the waterfront, New Albany and Clarksville, along the fossil beds. Usually we see some people out there already kind of getting their hike in or getting some fishing in. Looks like the water definitely the lowest we've seen pretty much all year. You can see more and more of the fossil beds. It looks like there is a boat out there. Good for them getting out there early and trying to catch the morning catch on this Thursday, July the 10th. So there's the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. And then back to the interactive radar. There's the 7-day forecast that I posted there. Your weather story, if you want to look a little bit deeper into the weather conditions. It's got the day 1, day 2 risk of severe weather. There's no risk of severe weather for us. And some more resources and tools right there. So this is the big old interactive radar. You can plop on the temperatures there. So pretty cozy here. It's a little humid, upper 70s to around 80 degrees with a look at these current temperatures across southern Indiana and Kentucky. Just mostly 70s at the moment. Of course, it won't take long to get into the 80s with this UV index up to a 10 today as we expand our view out a little bit more. Really one of the easiest ways to look at current conditions and also radar and alerts with the interactive radar at extolmag.com/weather. Bookmark that. Bookmark it on your phone too. If you're out and about, you can always just check up on what's happening. It'll always have the latest alerts on there, and you can see the active weather up to our northwest. That will get a little bit closer, especially Sunday, and start to increase our chance for some showers and thunderstorms. So that is what is happening right now. And I do want to give a few announcements here before we dig into your forecast. We've got a new partner on board with Ben at 10 and Extol Weather and Extol Media. So Michael Long, he is an insurance agent out of Indiana, covers all of Indiana with American Family Insurance. So we have a long history here. He was my son's first travel ball coach when my son was 7 years old. And right after that, we switched our insurance to Michael. He gave us the lowest rates that we could possibly find. And then it turns out after, knowing him for a long time, doing the travel ball stuff, we needed his help. I got T-boned to downtown Louisville, heading on my way to work by a motorcycle. And I was in a little Ford Focus, and it like moved the car. This guy was going like, I don't know, 30, 40 miles an hour. Luckily he was okay. He flipped over the car. We had it on video. Christian, yeah, I'm outside on the back deck. I was just looking at your comment. So Keith Hennessy, boom, you got it. I'm going to get back to the comments here in just a second. So Michael had to help me through that situation, and did not get the car was not totaled, but it needed a whole lot of repairs. And so went to the repair shop, the New Albany Auto Repair, I believe is where we went. They were awesome as well. And then I think it's Greg there at New Albany Auto Body Repair. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then shortly after that, we hit a deer on Highway 60 up here out of Borden, Indiana. Almost totaled my wife's car. So Michael had our back on that, got that fixed. And thankfully we weren't upside down on that because we still owed money on that car. And then this March, tree went through my mom's roof, and Michael had to work with Lions Roofing right here, protecting your most valuable assets. So every partner that we're partnering with, we've got a personal relationship with. We trust them. We know them. Awesome people. And so Lions Roofing and DJ Zip there, sales rep, also helped my mom out. And my mom is older. My grandma's older. So it was great to have them help with the email communication and all that stuff and get everything worked out. And now my mom's roof is beautiful, and they fixed it all up. So thanks to them. 812-294-3595 is Lions Roofing. They also they're so busy because of all the storms that we had in the springtime. They do have a job opening, roofing repair technician. If you know a family member that maybe wants an opportunity, and speaking of opportunities, you can level up your career and get your education that you need. Ivy Tech Community College, again, personal relationship, because my daughter's got, I forget now, 42 credits or something like that, head to the Sellersburg campus. So she's jumping into IU as a second semester sophomore, thanks to Ivy Tech. Thank you so much. So great folks there. Got to know the leadership at Ivy Tech. And they are all about helping us out in this community in Southern Indiana, teaming up with businesses that need the workforce, students, helping them accelerate their education as well. So check them out at Ivy Tech Community College. And then Libs Paving offering a lot of opportunities too. LIB, as in Ben, S, Libs Paving. Go to careers in the upper right-hand corner. And if you cruise down a little bit, I think I counted like 19 or 18 job opportunities. So every line right here is a job opening, and you can just click on the right side. They just got so much work. And of course, they had delays here and there. I help them out with the forecast on a daily basis because of these pop-up storms every once in a while. So they're very busy and can always use the help. So you can head there. If you know, again, know a family member that wants an opportunity, there are plenty of opportunities there at libspaving.com. So and again, just looking at some of the current conditions out there, we've got some more comments rolling in, and we had a correct answer from Keith Hennessy. Keith Hennessy wins. Cheers, Keith. Dave Matthews Band. See, I was trying to play it bad enough to make the game worthwhile, and also trying not to get kicked off YouTube and Facebook for copyright. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you hopped in on here a little bit late, we started on with a few tunes from the concert we're heading to this weekend. Mary Ridge, looking forward to the cooler temperatures next week. Yeah, it might just be kind of a brief cool down, which is kind of typical for this time of the year. That would be Friday, Saturday next week, if we can hold on to that cold front coming through. So, and then looking way down the road, so not next week, but the following midweek, there was another strong signal that we might get Canada to win, meaning some cooler, more refreshing air. So we'll see about that. Celeste Garrett from Good Morning from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Thanks for watching. We've got Simon from across the pond there in Scotland. And Amy Moore says, yes, like that band. So, I mean, my first DMB concert was, I think, 1998, maybe. Nope. Yeah, I think so. They may have been at like a Lollapalooza back in like the mid 90s that I may have not even known who they were at that time. So again, we're going to get into the forecast here. Going to go ahead and add this, remove this, and then we should be able to roll on here with that. So just a reminder too that you can always partner up with us whenever you like. Become an advertising marketing partner. There are so many things that we can do for you and your business. If you know somebody that wants to, again, I call it the Southern Indiana megaphone. We'll get you out there and in front of some eyeballs here. You can contact me, Ben at extolmag.com, Jason at extolmag.com. If you have just a weather question, feel free to communicate that way too. Maybe a more in-depth weather question I can handle. Ben at extolmag.com, Ben at extolmag.com. So thanks for reaching out. Forecast today, your play ball forecast. 85 at noon, 90 this afternoon, and 84 at 8 p.m. And so not extreme heat, typical heat for this time of the year, and just a 10% chance of an isolated pop-up afternoon shower, but most areas are going to be dry. Simon saying, I'm already feeling the heat. Hope you stay cool. Yeah, we've got a lot of heat around our neck of the woods here. And Angela saying, good morning. Awesome morning. Yesterday, Matthews Band is amazing. Love them and enjoy their. Whatever you think about them, you can't deny the talent, especially the drummer of Dave Matthews Band. UV index is a very high level of 10 today. Super easy to get that burn. Just a sunscreen reminder or a shade reminder for today. Some of the good news we've been reporting, we're kind of in the early midsummer time frame. So this is kind of the lowest. During the growing season, this is kind of the lowest time period of pollen before the weed pollen begins to ramp up. If you're a regular viewer, you heard me talk about this, but I just think it's interesting. So we're at 14 hours and 39 minutes of daylight right now, and that is going to diminish rather quickly. You'll start to notice it more and more later this month as we get before 9 p.m. sunsets, and we lose 20 minutes of daylight between now and July 24th. And then in less than 2 months, we've got before 8 p.m. sunsets. Not to be a downer here, but just it's kind of interesting how the sun's angle just diminishes pretty quickly when you measure it in days, weeks, and months here. So in the less than 2 months, September 9th, we lose 2 hours of daylight. You're losing it from later sunrises and earlier sunsets. And November 2nd, we lose 4 hours of daylight with a 5:42 p.m. sunset. Boo to that. Forecast today, high temperature up to 90 degrees, hot sunshine, mostly dry, just a 10% chance of a pop-up shower. And I was talking about Michael Long, insurance agent with American Family Insurance. I want to mention that if you want to reach out to him, a lot of folks know him up around the Salem, Bedford, Mitchell area, and all around much of southern Indiana. And you can see all the rave reviews on his site. But you can see his email up there in the upper right-hand corner, 812-578-3072, if you'd like to get a quote. So today, again, mostly dry, sunset 9:08, a little bit steamy out there. Low tonight, 72 degrees, mostly clear, warm, and humid, which is a very light breeze for tonight. Typical summer night for us. And their forecast tomorrow for your July 11th, 87 at noon, 92 for the afternoon high tomorrow. So a little bit hotter and still mostly dry. I'm giving it that little meager 10% little chance of a pop-up shower tomorrow afternoon, but most areas will stay dry. Normal high is 89, so a few degrees above average. Sunrise 6:29, sunset tomorrow at 9:07. So again, like kind of minute by minute, we're losing that daylight. And the 7-day forecast, we got 92 back to back. I wouldn't cancel your outdoor plans Saturday. Might be a morning shower passing through, maybe a pop-up in the afternoon. Does not look like a washout. Sunday doesn't look like a washout either, but I think that's probably our best shot of some showers and thunderstorms, especially maybe late in the afternoon into the evening time Sunday. And so that should get the grass growing. I know I've heard from some of you guys that you need the rainfall. It's been kind of dodging your area, like Bullitt County, for instance. Have heard from you guys. So if your grass is getting a little crispy, hopefully you get that round there Saturday or Sunday, some rainfall. It doesn't take long to dry out the grass this time of the year with that hot sunshine. So then lower 90s, mostly dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then late next week, there might be that Canadian front that might give us a better chance of some rain Thursday into Friday. And then maybe some of that relief on the way Thursday into Friday as well. So we will see about that. Good morning, Ben. I think I missed something interesting. So the only thing interesting you may have missed, we're at 10:19. We're almost to that point where we get into the weather model data, which we will here in just a second. I don't know if it's interesting, but I was just playing a Guess the Tune to where my wife and I are heading up to a concert. So what band is it? And so that song is called Satellite. That's why it's weather related. We use satellites every day. We're going to look at the radar and satellite here in a second. So weather related. And this one's kind of funky. Sometimes I miss the note. Oops, missed it. Should have practiced. So we're just doing partial song. Can't think of any other song. So that's what we're doing this weekend. Hopefully I played it again bad enough, which I probably did, that we don't get kicked off for copyrights. Let me remove this. You just saw the 7-day forecast. We're going to add this back up to the stage. Let's look at the current radar and our temperatures here right now in the upper 70s, around 80 degrees. So here's another question. Here's another. So the music I was playing and the band that was already guessed in the comments. How much money have they not raised? How much money have they made since they've been touring? And I think it's about a third as much as Taylor Swift. So and don't be Googling this. Guess how much Dave Matthews has made, the band, from their revenue. About a third as much as Taylor Swift. They're top 20 of all bands and their revenue. So that's the question. Drop it in the comments, and we'll take a look at who's right here in just a second. Let's bring it up full screen. The radar and satellite. We are quiet across the region. There were just a few little showers off to the southeast around Somerset, Kentucky. And that is not Saturday. Let me get rid of, I labeled this earlier. So let me go to here and then delete that. All right, so there we go. There's the radar and satellite. Everything is pretty quiet across the Ohio Valley. Active weather is up over the northwest. You can see showers, storms, low pressure system over Iowa and into Minnesota, into Nebraska, and into Colorado. And active weather over New England. So we're kind of wedged in the middle with some dry conditions. It's going to be mostly dry today and also tomorrow. Chugging on a lot of data here with our program. And let me bring up the weather model data. We call the future radar. And you may have guessed this if you're a regular viewer, that we are going to use the HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh weather model, the HRRR weather model. And I'm going to back this up to time now. 10 to 11 o'clock, and it doesn't show a whole lot out there. All right, we've got some guesses coming in, by the way. How much has Dave Matthews Band made from touring and albums and all that good stuff? Mary Dale says, love it. Thank you very much. Lillian Lisley says, awesome. I'm thinking about getting a self mower, Perry. Like I mentioned, my neighbor up here, Steve, has a self-automated mower that works really well. So we've got a guest from my stepmom, Diana Peine. Looking forward to seeing you soon. 30 million. Might be way low. We've got Amy with 40 million. way low. I'm gonna give it like a minute or two, and then we're gonna give the answer. How much has Dave Matthews Band made touring? 1/3. Here's a hint: about a third or less than Taylor Swift. Not just this year, but throughout the career. Peggy Sipe says no clue. No Googling. We'll get to the answer here in just a second. Top 20 all time. We're talking even like Metallica's way up there, Guns N' Roses, Billy Joel, all those huge names, Rolling Stones, their top 20, obviously. So we're talking a whole lot of money. All right, we'll get back to that answer in just a second as we zoom ahead to later this afternoon. Again, late afternoon into the early evening time. So this is why I put a 10% chance of a pop-up shower today. You can see that most areas are dry, just showing maybe a tiny pop-up shower that would be very brief, but most locations dry. I can see myself barely glitching, so we're testing out the Starlink. I think every once in a while, Starlink satellite will go by, and then we're kind of in between a little bit. That's my guess anyway. All right, Amy Jo, we're moving in the right direction. 250 million. Moving in the right direction. Simon says, right now, a severe thunderstorm warning. Can you take a look at that, please? Where are you talking about? Because we're covering southern Indiana and a lot of Kentucky right now. I'm not sure. Actually, if you want, Simon, if you go to extolmag.com/weather, let me go ahead and bring that up. And if you turn on the alerts, you will see, as I back this up, if there were any warnings, you would see that there's some flash flood warnings in southern Minnesota. There are a heat advisory there in Montana. I don't see any severe warnings. High wave action up in the Chicago area, Lake Michigan. I don't see a whole many warnings around here, Simon. In fact, not a lot of alerts across the United States. All right, let's get back to the weather model data. So that's this afternoon, and that's going to be Friday afternoon too. That's what I'm going to zip ahead with the weather model data. Amy Jo is going in the right direction, 400 million. Vicky, you're going in the right direction, 650 million. How much has Dave Matthews Band made in their 30 years? Going in the right direction. Wait till you hear about Taylor Swift. Crazy. She's doing it for the love of the game because she does not need any more cash. I can tell you that. So let's look at, we're still in the weather model data. Let me go to the GFS, high resolution. I don't know if you remember this. We've been looking at the precipitable water, and that's a measure of the water content in the atmosphere, how much water you can precipitate out if you do get a storm to move over. So we've got a lot of it. It's humid. It's way more humid though. Like we've got typical humidity, but then you've got like tropical humidity down over the Gulf Coast and over the East Coast. All right, Amy, you got it. $1 billion, a little over $1 billion is what Dave Matthews has made. And I think Taylor Swift is over $3 billion. So a ton of money there. Simon, will get back to that here in just a second. Saw your comment. So what I want to do is jump ahead to the middle of next week. So that's going to be Wednesday, the 16th. And it's still going to be muggy. And even probably muggier. So red is tropical, right? Let me go full screen with this. So what we're going to monitor next week is, notice the contrast here. This is I would just call it a Canadian front. Behind that is refreshing air and cooler temperatures. We need that to win out and be stronger than the muggy air. And we're going to see if we get that push maybe around Friday next week. That would be the 18th of July. that might be the initial push that gives us a day, maybe 1, 2, 3 days of relief. Not this weekend, but next weekend. But there's also some signs in the data that by the middle of the following week, so then we're talking maybe around the 23rd, 24th. So not next week, but the following week, we might get even a bigger push of some relief. That is your Ben on a limb segment, meaning we're going out on a limb with this because this is some long-range weather model data. We cross our fingers if we want something like that to happen, which most of us would probably take some Canadian relief here. So then we got to jump ahead. I want to go to Friday, the 18th of July. We got a wow for the $1 billion, and a Lillian Lasley a wow as well. Taylor could give me a little bit of that. That would be fine with me. Isn't that incredible? Over $3 billion. Of course, she's got to pay staff and the touring and all that stuff. So there's a chunk that comes out of the $3 billion, but I'm sure she's got plenty left over. Sherry Coyne, thanks for tuning in to Ben at 10 this morning here at 10:31. We're in the weather model data segment. So I don't know if you missed it while I was talking, but look at that. That's the Friday punch of dry, refreshing air. The big question, will this happen? We hope so. It's been in the weather model data for days now. So look at this wedge of, we'll call it, Great Lakes, Canadian air. So I'm just going to draw a smiley face right here because I think that'll make a lot of folks happy if we can get that. And look at how it shoves the air you can wear, the tropical air, down over the deep south here. Let's hope we can get that to happen next Friday. Let me go back out of full screen here. Let's go to Saturday. That'll be the 19th. And see if we can hold on to that dry air. So this is the GFS weather model. The European weather model also had kind of a similar solution as well. And if you're just tuning in, we're looking at the potential for some relief, some Canadian air late next week. This might just be like a 2-day thing, but there you can see that the dry air is still winning out. The muggy stuff confined along the coast. So we're hoping that happens. A lot of times we'll see an area of high pressure that drops down from Canada. So you get high pressure. And then when it starts to move out, you get this return flow on the backside, and you see the Great Plains fueling back up with the humidity before we do. And that kind of a similar situation that we've seen this summer. So that might be kind of a 2-day respite from, I would just call it typical humidity. I mean, this is not excessive that we have across the area. It can be a whole lot worse. You can have a heat index 105, 110 without question this time of the year, and we're not that bad. So I want to go to, let's see how far out we can go. Let's go to the 22nd. I don't even know what day that is. Some of you better. So we recharge and get humid again, potentially. So not next week, but the early part of the following week. So we're around the 23rd of July. But even though, next weekend we might get that refreshing change for, a day or two, and then it gets humid again the early following week. But it looks like there could be a secondary front that tries to push in. You can see this very clearly here on the maps. So there's the line, the contrast. You got dry, cooler air here over the Great Lakes. This is the 23rd. What day is the 23rd? Just trying to bring up my calendar here. The computer's chugging on so much data. So I don't know. That's like probably almost 2 weeks from now. Okay, so, but I want to show you a little bit beyond that. So we're going to the 20, yeah, let's go to the 23rd afternoon. I'm just chugging along the data here. I'm trying to find this when it moves through. So this is actually the 22nd, 5 p.m. So let's go a little bit farther than that. So it's a close call if we can get that dry air in here, a couple weeks from now. But it gives us some hope. There could be a couple little pushes of some dry, refreshing air every once in a while. So it's not, I guess the key message here, July won't be relentless. It'll give us my stepmom Diana is always amazing with calendar dates. 22nd is a Tuesday. So a couple weeks from now, middle of a couple weeks from now, might get a little bit of that break. And Sherry Coyne again said, good morning. Nice. Mary Ridge, definitely a smiley face. Vicky Berger, are there any tropical storms starting up? No. In fact, good question there. We can go to, if you ever want to go to www.nhc.noaa.gov. And this is the National Hurricane Center's page for the Atlantic right there. And it says tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. So that's where I go. That's where everybody goes. National Hurricane Center. They've got the doctorates in tropical storm meteorology there. They know what's up. Robert Simpson says, good morning, Ben. Bring that Canadian air on. It's a little bit of a wait, but we'll try late next week. Yeah, Christian says 86 in Naples, Florida. No hurricanes down there yet, but it's hurricane season. Hurricane season is a long season all the way through November. And it peaks in mid-September. So we're not nearly at the peak of the hurricane season. Mary Dale says, you're so right. It could be much worse. For sure. And Alice Young ready for that cool down. All right. So we'll get back to the forecast here and then we'll wrap things up. We're at 10:36 on this Thursday. So I'll bring back up the forecast here for you. In case you missed it, typically we do it around 10:10 or so. We get into the weather model the weather model data around 10:20. And then we get back to the forecast. It's typical setup here on the show. So I'm going to remove that and add that. So here's the play ball forecast for today. Noon 85, 90 for the afternoon high. And most areas will be dry. I am noticing a couple of cumulus clouds starting to grow a little bit taller. And we might see a couple of those get big enough for a very isolated shower. But there's not much to kick these things up in the atmosphere. We don't really have any fronts around for today and tomorrow. So I've got it at like a 10% chance. So most areas will be dry. Sherry says, I'm ready to hear about that concert. Might have to do a little live from the campground next to the amphitheater. We'll see about that tomorrow. And then the UV index is very high today at a 10. So my wife and I are about to roll out in about an hour. So that's why we're live from the back deck this morning. Vicky says, I think Vicky's talking to Christian. Maybe your grandpa will let me come down. Yeah, me too. How about that? My grandpa has a place in Naples, Florida, where we go every spring break. That sounds amazing. Allergy report is the good news. Here in early midsummer, it's the lowest that we have pollen during the growing season. Then the ragweed starts to ramp back up late summer into fall. And the sunset times are getting earlier and earlier, and the sunrise times are getting later. So we're squeezing out daylight from both ends. So we lose about 20 minutes of daylight between now and July 24th. We lose 2 hours of daylight between now and September 9th, so in less than 2 months. And then we lose 4 hours of daylight by November. Again, that forecast high today of 90 degrees, hot sunshine and mostly dry. Low tonight 72, mostly clear, warm and humid. Typical summer nights. Tomorrow's forecast, I can get myself out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. So just like today, except maybe a little bit hotter, a high of 92 degrees. Christian, are you inviting us all down for spring break? We just got to get a plane ticket. 7-day forecast. A little better chance of a passing shower or thunderstorm Saturday. We got that at about a 30% chance. I wouldn't cancel outdoor plans. And then a little better chance of that on Sunday with a high of 88. And so that's our best shot at getting the yard a drink on Sunday. And I've only got it at about a 10 or 20% chance of a pop-up, mainly in the afternoon with low 90s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Plenty of dry time there to sweat it out in the yard and get some things mowed. I will be doing that early next week. And then if we get that Canadian front to move in, next Thursday, Friday timeframe, we might have a better chance of rain around that time as well. So there is your forecast. Lillian saying, y'all have safe and fun. Thank you very much. Sherry Coyne, I need that sunlight. Alaska is out of the question. I like to visit Alaska. I love the alone shows. And there's a local guy named Timber up here in Salem, Timber Cleghorn, who was in the last year's, so it's on Hulu now. It's the latest season on Hulu of Alone, and he's on that. So we're only on like episode 2, my wife and I. So check out Timber. You got to be a different breed, a different animal to be able to be in that show. That is crazy. You got to film yourself. You're out in the wilderness. There's grizzly bears. There's wolves. You name it. It's a wild show. So check that out. Christian Walker says no. Vicky Berger, have a safe trip. No, we're just joking, Christian. We're just joking. All right, thanks for tuning in here, guys. Sherry says, cool, I will watch it. And I want to give another shout out before we take off here. Again, a reminder, bookmark extolmag.com/weather. It's your Southern Indiana and beyond source for all things weather. We personally made this page local for you, not only with the interactive radar, but we've got local maps, the drought monitor, the regional radar, severe weather, any watches or warnings, storm reports, severe weather outlooks for our area, 7-day forecast, the weather story right there, and a whole lot more. We got our live program up there live. So check that out. And I want to thank also our brand new partner here on Bennett 10 and Extol Weather, Michael Long. He's my insurance agent. He's been my insurance agent for probably maybe not quite 10 years, a little bit after we moved out here. He was my son's first travel ball coach, and with the Strikers, the Southern Indiana Strikers, and then the Southern Indiana Aces until, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years of that. And then Brady kind of got out of travel baseball into travel tennis, travel golf. So kind of mixing up all the sports now. But Michael Long is an awesome dude. You can see some great recommendations and reviews here at the bottom. Lots of 5 stars there. And I will give him 5 stars as well, because again, Michael has personally helped our family out. Of course, he would pay for these travel ball tournaments, their jerseys, their uniforms. Very giving person. So he made travel balls a very expensive thing, and he made it super cheap for our family and other families in Southern Indiana. And then I was talking about this earlier. I got into a car wreck. I got T-boned downtown Louisville and needed a lot of repairs. It was, again, really easy process with having Michael as our agent to get that fixed. And I think it was New Albany Auto Body Repair. I think it's Greg there that helped us expedite that very quickly. So we got that car back. My daughter uses that car now. And then my wife's car got nailed by a deer 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. Same deal, same process, got through that. And then in March, my mom's home had a tree go through the roof. That's a big deal. Not only the roof, but then they had to get in the attic. And then she had some water damage in her bedroom ceiling. There's a communication there with the agent, with the adjuster, with the roofers and all that stuff. So, and then my mom, who is Young, her last name's Young, but could use some help with the communication process there with all the emails and everything. And they had her back, and as he's had my back as well. So if you want some coverage, somebody that's got your back, you can get a quote there. This is his page at amfam.com, American Family Insurance, 812-578-3072. So check him out. And again, he was, I was in communication with the roofer and my mom as well. And these guys got it done so quickly for us. Lions Roofing, family company here out of Memphis, Indiana, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime, that being your roof of your home. Can't do much without a roof. 812-294-3595. They've been super busy because of hailstorms and windstorms that we had earlier in the springtime. And so they do have a job opening. If you know a family member that wants an opportunity, a roofing repair technician, just go to lionsroofingco.com for more information there. A lot more job postings here too, sharing some opportunities here in Southern Indiana for you. libspaving.com. Every line that you see here is a job opening. Just go to the right side, hit learn more, and you can apply there online, and you can level up your career as well and get certifications. A lot of 2-year certifications here at the Sellersburg campus. There's a lot of stories of students getting out of high school already ready to get into the workforce. They are partnering with businesses and schools all throughout Southern Indiana to, again, help you get to the next level in a very efficient way, an affordable way. You learn more about tuition and aid there. You can register for Tuesdays at the Tech, where you can get one-on-one help with registering for classes and all that good stuff there as well. So that'll do it. Extolmag.com/weather. Head over there. There is our live stream up, that red button there. If you could go to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, we're getting those numbers up there. Thank you for watching on YouTube as well. We've got great numbers here on Facebook, of course. That's where most of us are looking at it. But if you go to YouTube, it's really high def. You can comment there as well, and you can also have it on the big screen. So thanks for watching us there on the good old YouTube, and Extol Weather on Facebook. Thanks for liking, following there, and my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine. So that is wrapping things up here on this Thursday, Friday Eve. We're about to scoot out northbound I-65 up to Indianapolis. Say a little prayer for our old car that has 175,000 miles. It's got a little bit of a noise in the front that comes and goes. We're hoping it makes it there and back just fine with no stress. We're not going to take the GMC Sierra 97 that has no air conditioning and has 225,000 miles. So we'll let that truck rest, big red rest, and the kids need to drive. So we're going to do our best. We're running a fleet of vehicles here with like minimum 125,000 miles. Sherry Coyne saying, have fun on your trip this weekend. Stay safe. Christian, I have not been able to check it out yet, but I'll check it out. And thanks for watching here, Christian. Vicky Berger, everybody have a safe weekend. We'll wrap it up here with Amy Jo Moore. Thanks for watching. Ben at 10 this morning at 10:47. I got to go fill up the coolers. Have a great trip. Amy says you guys have a great weekend as well. Going to try to pop on tomorrow morning, and we'll keep everything updated on the website, on the socials. Thanks again for tuning in. And we've got one last comment here from Mary Ridge. Have a safe trip. Have a great weekend. And Christian Walker says, have fun. All right. Have a fun weekend, guys. Try to stay cool out there as well. So we'll see you later.